Okay guys, this is Justin with Justin Holdren Fine Art Studio, and today we are in my Glencoe Mill studio because I wanted to show you this acrylic vase pour that I had put on Facebook and Instagram. A lot of you wanted to know how to do it, and as you see, I am in the studio today. Sorry it's a mess. We are rehanging paintings for a show, and I'm working on 2 other shows right now, so let's get to it. These are acrylic colors that I have mixed with acrylic paint, a little bit of water, and Floetrol. Just a little bit of Floetrol, which is a paint conditioner you can find at Lowe's. It's made by Flood. It's in a big white bottle. It just thins the paint with the consistency without thinning it too much with water, and makes it level out when it dries. So these are just acrylic craft paints this time. Usually if I was doing a piece on canvas, I would use the artist quality paints. These are a little thinner, but just for a demo purpose today to show you, they're a little easier to use because they're already thinned down. But I've mixed these. I was out of popsicle sticks today, so I used some pencils I had laying around in the studio. But you want to mix them to a pretty thin consistency. These I'm still not done mixing, so I'm going to mix a little more off camera. But these are just mixed with the water and the Floetrol, and as you see, they're a little, you want them runny, you want them running off the stick. So we're going to try these and mix them in a cup. I typically use the white first because the white is a little heavier paint, and it will push through your other colors. So if you put it on the bottom when you do your pour, this will push down through all your other colors and help them slide down, because it's a little bit, the white paints are typically, the consistency is a little heavier. So, and then we're going to add a little bit of this blue. Kind of going for a vase with white with some streaks of color in it. And the thing with these is you never know how they are going to turn out. It's always a surprise. So you have to experiment. I suggest getting some vases at the dollar store for $1 each, or a thrift shop, and just experiment with a bunch of them. Then you'll know how much of each color to add to try and get the color that you want. But it's still going to end up a surprise. These typically, you have a little control over them, but not much. Once the paint goes on, it's going to go where it wants to. So we've got some blues and some kind of Caribbean greens, and then a little bit of a purple. So we're just going to see how that works. And I'm always surprised when they dry. When they dry, they look a little different. And then we're going to add just a little bit more of the white. And then now that is all of our colors there. I'm just going to top it off with a little bit of the blue. Try to get some more of those pretty blues in there. And that cup is pretty full. So that's a 16-ounce cup. Typically probably more paint than I need, but we'll see how it goes. And usually when you have a vase with a small opening, I just put it over these plastic cups to hold it in place. This one doesn't need it because it's a wide mouth. And there's a cardboard box I've made and taped up the sides just to contain all my spills. And that will catch everything. And actually the bottom when it dries is pretty cool too. So we're getting ready to pour here. And we'll show you how to pour. This is going to be a tree ring pour, so we're going to bounce the cup a little bit over a continuous spot. But first I like to kind of coat the edges just to make sure you have some paint to help all the other paint slide down. And I usually clean these vases with alcohol before, so they're nice and smooth. And here we go. You just pour, and you just see I'm bouncing my hand there, just so it kind of stays in one spot. And then the paint will kind of cascade off the side of the vase. And it looks like we're getting some beautiful colors. I hope we don't have too much white, because then we'll end up with a mostly white vase with just a few streaks of color. But like I said, it's all experimentation. You never know how they're going to turn out. So this one we just kind of check to make sure it's covered all the way around the sides. Got some cool effects going on there. And if it's not covered, I generally just take a popsicle stick and just kind of spread it around a little bit. You can pick some of the paint up from the cardboard box and add some more to it if you need to. But that was pretty thick layers, so it looks like it's going to stay on. When these are finished, I have tried varnishing them with 2 coats of a clear coat, a gloss clear coat. I didn't really like the way that looked. It wasn't as glossy as I wanted, so lately I've been using resin, which is a little hard to work with if you haven't worked with it before, but you can buy that at your art store. I believe Hobby Lobby has it, Michael's has it. And the way I apply it to the vase once dry is, once the vase is dry, I just pour that resin, I wear some protective gloves, pour it into the gloves, and just rub it all over the vase with my hands. And when it dries, you will have that really reflective shine like it is now when it's wet. Because as this dries, it's going to go really matte, and it's not going to be very shiny. So you can experiment with different clear coats, sprays, but this is going to be really shiny like this if you use resin when they're dry. And that will give it kind of the look of blown glass, and it'll be really shiny. And but these are just a fun break from my regular paintings and my regular work. And we do these just to have something affordable. As you can see, it's a lot different than what I normally do. These are paintings in progress for shows, some that have sold or getting packed up, and others that are getting ready for other shows. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to come back in a minute with my torch and show you how I get rid of these air bubbles here. When it's done, you'll see some air bubbles around. You just get a little torch, and we'll show you that here in a minute. Okay, so here it is after it's run down a bit. The paint is still running down the sides there, and you see I got my little torch here. It's just a little butane torch, not a lighter, but an actual torch that holds a flame, a forced flame. And what you want to do is you just want to turn it on and just kind of go over this quickly, so if there's any air bubbles, the heat will pop the air bubbles, so you won't have big bubbles in your paint. Don't need to do it much on the vases. I do it more when I'm pouring on a canvas, but that will take care of your air bubbles. So I hope that gives you an insight into the process anyway. And when this is dry, I will show you some more how it looks. This is kind of a slow-mo of how it's starting to look, and then we'll show you some more after it dries. And here's the finished as it's drying. So next time we'll try for more color. See you next time.